Hello, friends. This is Todd Abraham coming to you with our next episode of the Smart Small Business Show on franchiseradio.net. And today we're going to be talking about something that is of the utmost importance if you want to have a successful business, and that is the critical importance of a professional website. Listen, folks, 40, 90% of the people now are walking around with the internet in their hand. And it is a proven fact that most people, when they shop for anything, the first place they're going is the internet. It's common sense. It helps you to find stuff so much faster. In fact, I own a computer repair business that I do part time here in Athens, Tennessee. And one of my clients, a very nice gentleman, told me he found me because of AI. And my website gets a lot of traffic, and it's a very professional website for my business here in Tennessee. It's called Absolute Computer Repair, but our website is called absolutetechsupport.com. And so today we're going to talk about why you cannot afford to not have a professional website. And we're going to talk about things that your website should do and include in order to make it the most productive and the most professional, because you can have any website, but you need to have a website that is going to be professional, that is going to make you look better and bigger than you actually are, which in most cases that is the case. Because again, we've all heard the old adage, first impressions are everything, and they really are. They really are. So you're listening again to the Smart Small Business Show on franchiseradio.net. Our purpose, our mission with this podcast is to help you, the small business owner, to be more successful, to make wiser decisions, to protect you from getting hooked or scammed by unscrupulous salespeople, and to know what is wise investment when it comes to you know, hiring somebody to build a website for you, or to purchasing marketing, whether it be billboards or, search engine marketing, that sort of a thing. So there's just a lot of things that a small business owner needs to know, but can't afford to go out and pay somebody to consult with on different things, may not have the resources to go, and we want to be that resource for you. As a Christian and an entrepreneur myself, it is my heart's desire to help you to be, as I said, more successful and more profitable in your business for the glory of God. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian business owner or not. If these tips can help you, then praise God. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Again, the topic of today's podcast is the critical importance of a professional website. So, websites are something that I do. I build websites. You can check out our portfolio at adswithattitude.com. Again, adswithattitude.com. But again, the purpose of this podcast is not to try to sell you on hiring us to build you a website. I just wanted you to see from our portfolio our experience in professional websites so that you know that we know what we're talking about. Now, the first thing that you need to know about having a website is that if you don't have one, you are losing money. You are losing money if you don't have a website. If you have a website and it's not professional, if it loads slow, if it doesn't look good on every screen, you are losing money. If you have a website that looks like it was put together on Wix or some of these other do it yourself website builders that have been around for years, then you are losing money. Let me just put it this way. Yeah, many of you, or some of you listening to this podcast, you may have a storefront business, regardless of what it is. And what did you spend What do you spend every month to have that storefront business? Whether it's a standalone or it's in a shopping center or whatever, you've got a monthly lease that you pay every month, which is going to range anywhere from probably $1,000 to $3,000 a month. You've got utility bills that you have to pay every month. Many of you will have employees that you have to pay every month. But what does that storefront do for you? It gives you visibility. It gives you, in many cases, you have storefronts that get good traffic count, where they can see your business every day. Okay, and that's why you put it there so people can see it. But when you don't have a website, a professional website, those virtual drivers that are trying to find you, they cannot find you. And one customer, the cost of a website, not having one, the that customer, the money they would have spent with you, would have paid for the cost of you to have that website built. And so again, it's just crazy not to spend the money. But let me tell you a great advantage of having a professional website. One reason why you should definitely spend the money on it is because it's tax deductible. But here's the comparison I'm getting at. That storefront location that you have, whether it's a clothing store or a game store or a shoe store, okay, you're paying that lease every single month. Again, whether it's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, sometimes more, sometimes more. I had a good friend of mine who advertises in the newspaper I publish, and he owns the Chop Shop Barber Shop in Cleveland, Tennessee. He had a location right next door to Buffalo Wild Wings. That location was running about $5,000 a month. So those leases are high. But again, it was a very visible location. He closed it now because it just wasn't feasible and went back to a single location. But my point is, it wasn't it was a very visible location. And if you don't have a professional website, people searching for your service, your business type on the internet, they're going to go shop with somebody that does in most every case, unless they know you or unless you've just got something that's so unique that they can't find it on the internet. But my point being is that when you pay to have that website built, that is a one-time expense. One-time expense. Took me a long time to get to my point on this one, but it is a one-time expense. Let's say it's $3,000. Okay, one-time expense to get yourself a professional storefront on the internet so that people looking for your product or your service can find you. They will have a very good first impression of you, and therefore you can definitely know that you're not losing money because they can't find you or because they know you exist. But some people, I dare say, will still choose to do business with somebody else, even though your product or service may be good, because that other company has a website. It's ingrained in people's minds now. So let me just say this: Abe Designs, adswithattitude.com. This is how we charge for building a website. We charge $3,000, which is about $2,000 less than the average web design company. However, you will get a professional website just as good as the more expensive companies will build for you. It will be mobile friendly, search engine friendly. It will be very easy to navigate. It will load quickly, and we host the website for you. So the alternative, like I said, if you don't have one, or if you are trying to pinch your pennies, you go and you try to use some service like Wix. All these do-it-yourself website services, they make it sound so easy. But unless you know what you're doing, you know what elements to put in there, and you know how to put it all together, it don't matter how easy it is. And they're not as easy as they say they are. They're not as easy as they say that they are. So, the other things that you want to have in a professional website, you want to have a good quality logo, a good quality logo. We also design that. Again, the purpose of this podcast, though, is not to try to sell you on our service. It's for you so that you know what you should have in a website. When they come to your website, the statistics show that you have about 30 seconds to capture their attention. If you don't, many of the visitors will leave that website and they won't come back. So, what should they see when they land on your website? They should see who you are, where you are, what your product or service is, and your phone number. They should see your phone number when they land on the screen, and this is before they start to scroll. They should see your phone number. They need to have a way to contact you right up front as soon as they get to your website. That is critical because even though you may offer products for sale on your website, or even though whatever your business or service is, it's still good for them. They might be in a hurry. They might be going into a meeting and they might need to get a hold of you for something quickly. That's why your phone number needs to be visible. So the who, the where, the how, the when, the phone number, all that needs to be visible before they begin to scroll. And your website needs to be very easy to navigate. It needs to load quickly. If your website loads slowly, you're going to lose money, you're going to lose visitors, and it's just not going to be good for you. And again, your first impressions are everything. So let's say that you spend 30 hours on Wix trying to build your own website and it looks okay, but it loads slow. Well, how much is 30 hours of your time worth? Okay, how much is 30 hours of your time worth? And again, if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't look professional, you wasted all that time. You wasted all that time. I've heard so many business owners over the years and people talking like, I can't afford a website. You can't afford not to have a website. You can't afford not to have a professional website. It lends to the professionalism of your company on every level. And another thing, too, is in addition to that professional website, you need a professional place page on Google and on Bing because, again, it lends to your credibility of your company. Because most businesses now in America are small businesses. But to the person that finds your website, and they see a professional website and then they Google your business and they see a professional place page, with photos and reviews, and it's got your phone number, your hours of operation, any special services that you offer. And Bing is the same way because those are the two major search engines that all other of these smaller search engines pull from. Again, it's only going to help you make more money, but if you don't have it, it's only going to cause you to lose more money, to lose more money. So, and what happens is after you get your website built and done, okay, now, again, that's 100% tax deductible expense. Well, from that point forward, the only expense that you will have when it comes to your website is your annual hosting fee. We charge $150 a year for your annual hosting fee, but we host your website, we monitor your website, and we make sure that your website stays updated. So, and your website should look good on every single screen, whether it be an iPhone, an iPad, a 27-inch monitor, a 17-inch laptop monitor. Your website needs to look good. Things need to fit properly on any size screen. And that is something that a professional webmaster will do for you. I've got a webmaster. I haven't used him in a while, but he does a very professional website and he knows how to go in there and tweak things so that it looks good on mobile. Because you may have a website that has a button that says request more information, it looks good on a desktop or a laptop, but then when you look on a laptop, the text overruns the button. And there are websites out there where you can test your website to make sure that it is looking good and loading good and testing good. One of those tools you can use is called pingdom.tools.com. pingdom.tools.com. And you go in there, you put your website in there, and it will test your website and it will grade it based on the quality of it and the performance. It'll give you a grade like A plus or B minus, and it'll show you the things that you need improvement on. Another reason that you need a professional website is, again, for your reputation's sake. Because let's say your average product cost that you sell, let's say you sell products, maybe shoes, and your average shoe cost is between $50 and $100, okay? But again, you may not offer them for sale on your website. You may just have a storefront and you offer a professional website so that people know how to find you and can see, different things that you offer. But again, if you don't have a website, how many pairs of shoes did you not sell? So, I'm trying to make a point of reference here is, okay, so let's just say you hired us to build your website. It costs you $3,000. Okay. And then, so because you built a professional website, you brought in 25 customers in that first year. And I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe you brought in 50, okay? And 50 of those customers paid $25 for a pair of shoes. Okay, just do the math. Do the math. But if you didn't have the website, again, that virtual storefront, how many of those customers did you lose? And again, not just from direct purchases, but from people referring other customers to you. Because how many times does somebody say, "Hey, do you know a good shoe store? Hey, do you know a good barber or whatever?" Right? And I guarantee you, probably hair places are one of the worst for not having a professional website. And to me, that's just crazy. It's just crazy because, again, it's not like building a building for a real estate company or leasing a storefront where you have to pay triple net and, anywhere, like I said, from $1,500 to $5,000 a month, plus utilities and all that. So you need to be all in if you're going to be in business for yourself. And another important thing is the right domain name. The right domain name. Don't settle for a hokey domain name. Try not to get a domain name where the letters run together. Let me give an example. So I publish Heartbeat Christian News. I own the domain heartbeatchristiannews.com, but I don't use the domain as the primary domain for the website or for marketing purposes. The reason being is because the ends run together. The ends run together at the end of Christian, at the beginning of news. So you need to try to find a domain name, and don't let uh, your personal favorites, don't let that weigh your decision. Don't let that affect your decision. Because you like it doesn't necessarily mean it is the right domain. I'll give an example. I had a young man inquire with me about building a website for him and establishing a brand for him and his partner for a hardscaping and excavation company. And I came up with the most excellent logo, domain name, everything for it. And they still went with some crazy name, Shark something or other. And I thought, that's just insane. That's just insane. Again, because the whole purpose of a website, or one of the primary purposes of a website, is to not only give your business a professional appearance, but also to help you sell your products and to help people find you easier. The domain name that I had come up with for him, and the concept started with the letter AB, which is the beginning of the alphabet. So if he would have went with me and utilized that, then at every generic listing on the internet, his business would have come up at the top because it was AB, the word absolute. And like I said, they went with something called Shark something or other, something that don't even apply to hardscaping and excavation. And I thought, that's just crazy. But hey, That's your choice. But my point being is don't let your emotions, don't let your personal love of your own work and your own ideas cloud your judgment when it comes to a professional domain. Now, it used to be that you'd try to stay away from domains that were too long. But then, fast forward 20 years, where so many good domain names that are shorter have been taken, now sometimes you may have to have a longer domain, but just make sure that it flows well. Make sure that it's easy for people to remember, and make sure that if at all possible, make sure the spelling is correct in your domain name, because again, the easier it is for people to remember, the easier it is for them to find you and to refer others to you. For example, the website for my marketing company, adswithattitude.com. That's a fairly short domain name, but it flows well, excuse me, and people remember it well. The website for my tech support company, absolutetechsupport.com. There's a reason I came up with that, and I give God all the glory. But the word absolute is very profound, it's very complete, just the sound of it. But the AB puts me at the top of practically every listing for somebody doing a search for computer repair or tech support in this area. And if you look at the website, it is a professional website. A professional website. It looks good on mobile, it looks good on tablets, it looks good on laptops, on desktops, and praise God, it gets good traffic. And it also very easily spells out what we do. As soon as somebody lands on it, they automatically know, hey, this is a computer repair company, a tech support company. This is their phone number. This is where they're located before they even have to scroll. Now, another thing about websites that you want to make sure of, again, keep the content clean and very family friendly. I know that we live in a time now where it seems like vulgarity is at an all-time high, and even companies like Zaxby's now, they're starting to use profanity in their advertising. I have boycotted them. That is ridiculous and completely unnecessary. So you want your website to appeal to as many people as possible. Therefore, make sure that it is family friendly, G rated, so that kids that are 5 can look at it, adults who are 65 will look at it, and they will be happy to recommend it to anybody else. And make sure that your color scheme matches what you do. Make sure that your color scheme matches what you do. And if you want an idea for how to put together a professional plan to build your website with, hey, you can use ChatGPT or Google Gemini and just put in there, what you want for, like, what your business is, and ask it for suggestions on, what's a good color scheme, what's good content to put on my website, all those different things, and it will give you very detailed instructions to give to a webmaster so that you know that your website is going to be professional. Another thing that you want to make sure that your website does is that it's not overly informative. You want to make sure it's not too wordy, that it's not just it just in other words, that it would just people look at it and say, I'm not reading all that. I don't have time to look at all that information. Another purpose of your website, other than looking professional as your virtual storefront, is to drive people to your location or to pick up the phone and call you. So, again, make sure that you have good information, but also make sure that it's not too much information. And again, that's where AI can come in and be a big help for you in designing your website and making sure that the content is informative but not overly so, and then also give you ideas on based on your product or your service of, hey, how can I word my website that will drive people to want to pick up the phone and call me and or come into the store and, buy my products or browse my products. Again, AI is great for that kind of information. ChatGPT, Google Gemini are the two that I use the most. ChatGPT is the one I use more than anything, but it's and for even designing your logo, it can design a very good logo for you. I probably shouldn't tell you that because we design logos, but again, just so you know that the purpose of this podcast is not to sell you on hiring us to build your website, but on the importance, the critical importance of a good website. And so, other things that a website will do for you, again, it'll help you get so much more exposure for your business. It will help somebody choose you over your competitor so quickly, it'll make your head spin because you're going to have competitors in your field of business who are not going to have professional websites. And again, if you do, that's only going to help you make more money. It's only going to help you be more successful because let's face it, competition is fierce out there. So you need every single edge that you can have to make sure that you're not losing money from just common sense stuff. Common sense stuff. And another thing, too, is if you have a professional website, you should have your email set up through your website so that when you are communicating with customers or potential customers, let me give you an example. Again, I can only use what I have for myself, but when I am talking to potential customers about marketing, about websites, and I send them an email, I send it from info@adswithattitude.com. Or if it's tech support related, I send it from help@absolutetechsupport.com. Why? It's branding for your website. It's branding for your company because anybody knows that has any knowledge about the internet. If I get an email from somebody who says, let's say it's Michelle at raveartinc.com, I immediately know that's her website, raveartinc.com. Or if I send somebody an email from my tech support company, they automatically know, hey, his website is absolutetechsupport.com. So that is why it's very important. If you have a website, you should do all you can to make sure that your email is set up through your website because it only increases your branding and your traffic for your company. Every successful company out there, they've got their email set up through their website. And as a matter of fact, the company that I am a franchise consultant for is Franchise Marketing Systems. Okay. So their emails are set up just like that. My email for Franchise Marketing Systems is todd.abraham@fmsfranchise.com. That's branding for your business. And especially if you've got a cool business like bouncycastle.com. I mean, if that's what you do is you rent bouncy castles. If you're emailing and you're communicating with somebody and it's like, Jim at bouncycastletennessee.com, that's branding for your business. Why would you not do that? It's included in your domain package when you buy your domain. So, just to recap, I don't want to make this too long. The critical importance of having a website is you're losing money if you don't. The money you lose from not having a professional website is going to be far greater than any cost to ever build one. Building a website, like I said, we do them for $3,000. You pay half down and half when the website is done. Okay, 100% tax deductible. A professional website that flows well, loads quickly, and again is not overly informative and has the right elements in the right place is going to make your company look so professional. And in many cases, it's going to make you look bigger than what you are. And that's never a bad thing. Being able to give your website on your business cards is another huge plus because you're going to have business cards. Most every business does. You need to have a professional website to put on your business cards. And here's a marketing tip for you. When you are putting your website in any marketing materials, whether it be television or radio, well, not radio, but anything visual, like your Facebook page or whatever, you should always capitalize the words just like you would if you were spelling out the company name. To give an example, when I put my website on my marketing card, it says adswithattitude.com. Well, those three words are capitalized. You don't have to put the www and the https on marketing materials. That the internet automatically defaults that information in there. The internet automatically lower cases everything, but it looks better. It helps people remember your website better. Like, for example, my tech support website, absolutetechsupport.com. Well, anytime I'm promoting my website company, that's the way the website is put on my marketing materials. absolutetechsupport.com. That's it. No www, no https, but those words are capitalized because, again, it helps people to remember it better and it helps people to see your company name in your website so much better. To recap, make sure that you get a good domain name. And if it's long, make sure it flows well. Make sure you don't have letters running together. I can't think of other examples right now, but you know what I'm talking about. In other words, the end of one word, the letter that ends one word is the same letter as starts another word. You need to do everything you can to shy away from that. If you have a product or service or a company, excuse me, where there are a lot of competition, here's some ideas for you. Let's say you have a plumbing company and you are in Georgia, okay, and maybe your last name is Smith. Okay, well, you could do a Google search or a domain name search for Smith Plumbing, and there's probably no extension whatsoever available for that. But you could do smithplumbingga.com, and you probably find that there, if the .com is not available, perhaps the .net is available. What are the best extensions for a domain name? Well, .com is still always the best. .net is your second best. But depending on what you do, maybe you're an attorney, well, there's nothing wrong with having a .law website because it's a law firm. So again, don't be afraid to consult with somebody on these things. We offer marketing consultation. And again, but I want you to understand, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I am trying to give you facts that will help you be more successful in your business and to prevent you from losing a lot of potential income because you don't understand the critical importance of a professional website that looks good on every single screen and that promotes your product and or service in the most professional manner, because again, that is your virtual storefront. But if you don't have a virtual storefront, how much business are you losing by all those virtual passerbyers not seeing your professional virtual storefront? Well, friends, that's all I've got for you today. If you'd like to ask us any questions whatsoever, no pressure. You're welcome to give us a call, 423-405-4040. Again, my name is Todd Abraham. Our phone number, 423-405-4040. We offer website design, marketing consultation, just about anything you think. We design business cards, anything like that. But really, we just want to help you and for you to understand the importance of the things in business as a small business owner that can help you in the long run. Tune in to the Smart Small Business Show on franchiseradio.net. You can find this podcast on all of the major podcast networks like Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Podbean, Deezer. You can download the episodes. We encourage you, please follow us You can follow our page on Facebook, franchiseradio.net, for new episodes. And we appreciate your time. Thank you, and God bless.